has joined us today, except we have apologies from Councillor Brands and together with one of the officers, Officer Chris Lomas. So we've all received our papers for today. Everybody's had a chance to look at them. All of our cabinets are on live feed, so we can proceed. Just before we start, I think it's important that we, as a cabinet, and of course the city, reflect on the sad news that we had this week of one of our colleagues, Councillor Richard McAlinden. Richard was a well-respected and highly regarded councillor and friend, not just of members of the Labour group, but councillors across all political parties on the council. He's been a councillor for many, many years. And he was a real champion of his ward, his area, and of people. He was dedicated to supporting people in social care, all of those people who had health issues and social care issues. He was our select committee chair, and he's going to be really sadly missed. Our condolences, our sympathies and our thoughts go out to Barbara, his wife, and all the children. And all his relations and friends at this time. So before we start our meeting officially, can I just ask that we observe a minute's silence in memory of Richard McAlinden.
Thank you, colleagues. That concludes the minute's silence.
Okay, thank you for that. We have a number of items on the agenda this morning. But before I start, can any indications of any declaration of interests? No, I don't think any have been sent in. So again, in the usual way, because of the way we are dealing with cabinet these days, can I just ask, are the minutes of the last meeting agreed? And if I don't hear anything, I'll accept that they are agreed. So any comments on the minutes of the last meeting? Okay, so they seem to be agreed. So we're going on to the Mayoral Recommendations. We have 3 public recommendations to consider from the main agenda. This is item number 4A, and it's the disposal of 28 St Domingo Vale. It's a lease to the Liverpool veterans. As you know, we're moving from their headquarters, and this recommendation seeks to approval to grant a lease to the veterans at less than best consideration, which allows them to operate from this base at 28 St Domingo Vale. We, of course, are great partners with the veterans, and they do some fantastic work with us, joining us and with others across the city and indeed across Merseyside. But on many occasions, we've affirmed our commitment to supporting the armed forces through the Armed Forces Covenant legislation, and I want to thank all of the councillors and everybody that supports the armed forces. So it is a good report in the sense that it allows them to continue the great work that they do in the city and on behalf of us representing the city, working alongside the veterans. So it is a good news story. I'm pleased to welcome the report. And can we just agree those recommendations to allow them to go into those new premises, please? Okay, thank you. Item 4B is the Civica Icon Parity licence. It's a procurement issue, and it basically seeks our approval to purchase a 5-year licence for the use of Civica Icon Parity software. Straightforward, explains it in the report on pages 22. Are the recommendations set out in that report agreed? Okay, and this next item 4C is the review and implementation of digital traffic signs and monitoring systems. And again, it's just explained on pages 28 to 33, and it's about display systems and traffic systems. Sharon, do you want to make any comments or take us through that?
Thanks, Joe. Just to really say, the report outlines all the information and the detail, but just to say it's welcome improvement to how we will manage and monitor traffic flow across the city, and also bring about changes in the future to make sure it's efficient and the systems work effectively.
Okay, so again, a report that explains the whole details, the techies of this. So can we agree that recommendation as set out within the report, please? Okay, everybody agrees with that. We now have one additional public recommendation to consider, which was published on Wednesday. It's in the supplementary agenda, and basically this report is urgent and will see our acceptance of an additional funding from central government to support sports across the city and city region in light of the ongoing impacts of COVID-19. So, as I said, it's a £110,000 grant from Sports England for our Merseyside Sport Partnership. Wendy, any comments on that?
Yeah, I think the report's quite self-explanatory. It's just great to get that additionality. So many people have started doing a little bit of exercise while they're being socially isolated, and it's good that that's going to be targeting some of our most vulnerable groups as well. Okay, so can we agree that recommendation as set out in the report, please? Okay, agreed, thank you. We now have one additional public recommendation. It's 4E, which again is a second supplementary agenda, and basically it's actually seeking the acceptance of additional funding, and it's the Get Out, Get Active Liverpool project. Again, it explains that on pages 62, and it's basically for us to approve and accept £300,000 as grant funding to target socially disadvantaged, disconnected groups to engage in active lifestyles. So can we agree that recommendation as set out, please? Yeah, okay, thank you so much for that. And if we then move on to the agenda, there's two partially exempt items, and we will consider the two further partially exempt recommendations as published as they are on the agenda. Only the appendices of this report are exempt. So unless anybody from Cabinet, any members of the Cabinet want to question this, we'll consider the main reports in public. So have any of our Cabinet got any questions? No? Okay, great. So the part 2, item 3A, is the disabled facilities grants, the FG. It's about modular construction units, and it's a procurement contract and award, and it seeks our approval to purchase a number of modular units or pods which will be used to provide disabled facility adaptations. So again, it explains it in detail on pages 34 to 48. So can we agree that particular recommendation as set out in your report, please? Okay, so nobody disagreeing, so that's agreed. We move on to part 2, item 3B, which is the automatic Bollard maintenance and inspection contract, which is very difficult to say on early of a Friday morning, but it's on
pages 49 to 54 of your report, and it just seeks again our approval to procure a maintenance and support service for the new bollards and stuff. I know Sharon gets very excited when we talk about bollards, and I did say bollards. So, Sharon, if you, any comments you wish to make?
No, I think obviously all the information is in the report, and it's just again welcome to progress. So we have that improvement made on automatic bollards across the city centre.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And so, given those comments, and you could see the excitement in Sharon's face there, that we can accept that and move on. So, can we agree that recommendation, please? Okay, thank you. And then, if we move on now to item number 8, which is the minutes of the Public Spaces Representation Committee minutes, and this item just compromises of the minutes and decisions of the highways, meetings of the Highways and Public Spaces Representation Committee, which met on the 3rd of November. So are the recommendations as set out in the report agreed? And can I ask the committee secretary to now conduct a vote to see if that's the case?
That's confirmed, Joe.
Okay, well, really that concludes today's Cabinet business, and for me, we enter into, it's just important to recognise as today we start our mass testing programme. I just want to, you know, on behalf of you, behalf of the Cabinet and behalf of all the councillors, pay tribute really to our officers, to the Chief Executive, to all his staff, but also to Matt Ashton and the Public Health, and also our health service providers in the city who've all worked together and joined up together to actually seize this opportunity for us to have mass testing in the city. Look, you know, this is probably, I think, outside of in Western Europe, but outside, I think Czechoslovakia is the only country that's done something on a similar scale as what we're trying to do here in the city. It's an amazing response that we've had, and quite frankly, we were only really, pushed the green light on this last Saturday. So in less than a week, we've been able to get to the stage, not only where we brought the armed forces personnel into the city, but we've established some testing centres already, and there'll be more being ready and becoming ready over the weekend, and then more on Monday and Tuesday. And it's, I think, a great opportunity for the city to, engage in mass testing, but turn on its head the way we've been approaching COVID-19, where people get tested when they show symptoms. This is going to give us an opportunity to actually test asymptomatic people and find out and be able to inform them that they have the virus and indeed are spreading the virus, and also to identify people very early. So, look, I think it is a great opportunity. And yesterday, I pointed out to people about how Liverpool has been pioneers in public health and in things that we do. We only have to look at Kitty Wilkinson, and we've got a statue of Kitty in St George's Hall, one of the great champions of disadvantaged communities, who introduced the laundrettes, the wash houses in the city of Liverpool, and Dr Duncan, the first public health official in Liverpool, and also in 1959 when we introduced mass screening for TB, and of course we remember recently when we banned smoking in the public workspaces, in terms of the first in the country to do that. So for me, this is a real opportunity for us to seize the moment, and I just wanted, as I said, thank everybody involved who's supported this. It's just, a pity that we haven't had it earlier, but we've got it now, and we need to take advantage. So I think, thank you for all your support. And I know most of you are going to be tested over the next few days, and I think if you can then, you know, encourage the communities that you represent, and I'd encourage all of our councillors to actively encourage their residents and their communities to take part. It's great to see some of our local celebs, Carlo Ancelotti, Jurgen Klopp, and footballers, but others as well, Tony Bellew, many leading lights in sport and entertainment are getting behind this campaign, and I thank them for that, and also for the Liverpool Echo and for it leading and promoting and championing this, and also the local radio stations too. It is going to need to be a total community effort, a city effort, and as I said, the goal for us and the prize for us is dead simple. If we can you know, do this and alongside the national lockdown, then when the 2nd of December comes, we will be able to make a strong case that we come immediately out of Tier 3 and therefore be able to unlock slightly and try to have at least a better Christmas than we are currently looking at under Tier 3. So it's a real opportunity for us, and I don't know whether the Chief Executive wants to make a comment, but on behalf of Cabinet and behalf of the city, really, I want to thank him. I want to thank Matt Ashton, and I want to thank all the staff for engaging and involving themselves in this, because, you know, people don't realise that our officers are working in some cases, you know, 16-hour days and also working long weekends, and that's been for a considerably long time. And as I said, I certainly think it's important that the public and people of this city know that and know how committed we are in terms of supporting them. So, Tony, could you want to come in and make a comment, please?
Yeah, just to say, Joe, echo everything you've said, and thank you for acknowledging the work that all of our colleagues have done, from public health, communications, etc., but all our partner organisations as well have stepped up to the plate. This isn't going to go, you know, this is completely new ground for us and for government and for the military working on this. But what we've said is that we don't think there's anything we won't be able to deal with that comes up over the next couple of weeks, and there's really good team working there. What's been really good is that we've built sufficient credibility for government to allow us to take the lead as a city rather than it being done to us. So this really is a Liverpool initiative. And I think you said at the start of the process, Joe, and that's been echoed by government as well, that, you know, the logistics is really hard getting this set up, but ultimately the success of this is 10% logistics and 90% hearts and minds. That means about, you know, the whole city coming together and engaging this, and your role as mayor and cabinet members and the rest of our members from a community leadership point of view is absolutely critical. And if we can make a really good fist of this in the next couple of weeks, it will put us in a fundamentally different position, and it feels like our first chance to really fight back against the virus rather than just reacting to it. I've been absolutely amazed right the way through the crisis at how our colleagues have stepped up to the plate, and the joint working between members and officers, but also with our partners. The last week has just absolutely emphasised that again. They've been brilliant, quite frankly, and I think we're in a good place as we move forward with what's going to be a challenging but an exciting opportunity for us.
Okay, well, thank you for those comments, and I'm going to be out and about this morning and today, this afternoon, visiting some of the centres and welcoming our armed forces personnel, as I've done yesterday. And, you know, they are on our side here. They're ironically an army that's going to help us win a battle, and that's the right thing that they should be doing. Wendy, can I bring you in, and then anybody want to make any comments? When?
I just think I would agree with all of you. I think both you and Tony, I think, you know, people have worked around the clock, and also the many messages of support that we've got from residents in the city who really welcome this, who see it as, you know, really positive move going forward, and certainly, you know, sort of that whole community spirit of actually being able to, the way we did in Princess Park earlier in the year, you know, knowing if there is a specific outbreak in an area, targeting that support for people, but also, you know, being really mindful. We are coming into a season where people will have a lot of coughs, colds, sore throats, etc. anyway. And I think just having that capacity to go and have a test, know you're okay, know you can go and still support, particularly if you're in a social bubble and or someone's living on their own, knowing that you're not contagious and, you know, you can visit that elderly relative, friend or neighbour is really important to people. So as well as bringing the number down, I think it's also really important in people being able to support each other. We know people's mental health is quite fragile during these times and people are isolated, and knowing that you know you're safe and well and able to continue that support is really important too.
Okay, anybody else wants to come in, please feel free. Barry?
Yeah, I just want to say I think it's Remembrance Sunday, isn't it? And I think the armed forces, where we respect and think about the contribution that the armed forces have played in the world wars and the freedoms and of our own society, and I think they've been a critical part of support all the way through this crisis, and we wouldn't have been able to distribute PPE across the country if it wasn't for the support of armed services, and they've been helping and working in the test centres already for a few months, and having the being them involved in helping us and the people, because they're, at the end of the day, they're from our community, in staffing the test centres means that we can get them up and running and working in the way that we want to, and the support of all our people. So big. So it's, I think you need to recognise that from in terms of the armed forces.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think it is, so just to remind people as well about Remembrance Sunday, they will be able to log on and see the virtual service that we've created for Sunday. And as I said, we all will still continue to remember those that we've lost in conflict on Sunday, and of course Remembrance Day itself. So no, thank you for that. So as I said, you know, the issue for me as well is just to thank our comms team who've been doing an amazing piece of work. I think, as I said, working alongside other departments, especially central government departments, is always tough. But like as always, I think they've done an amazing job. And as Tony rightly said, this is about heart and mind. It's about communication. It's about winning over people. It's about making sure that people get on board with this. And our communications team are doing an amazing job in leading on that. Of course, you know, I can and you can speak to canvas and encourage people and stuff, but it's that strong, consistent messages from us that they've been putting out there and championing, and some of the things that they've done in the last couple of days that you'll see on billboards in the newspapers today, and also you know, on local radio, things like that will be all done by them. So great credit to Camilla and all the team for everything that they've done as well. So I can't see any more hands up. So from me, as I said, just do all you can over the weekend and over the next few days to encourage your own family, but also your community and everybody to get that test and get that test done. Not once, but a couple of times over the period that it's here. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe, and as I said, have a good weekend, and we'll see you early next week.